witch rides. When I say the witch ride's a person, I'm not talking about horns and broomsticks and spinning heads in a movie. I'm talking about a real phenomenon in the human world. A pattern, a force, a way of speaking and moving and bending a room that can inhabit any mouth, any gender, any social role, any side, any IQ level, any hairstyle, any spiritual vocabulary. It's older than cities. It is, in a certain strict sense, older than argument. Because argument assumes two people are trying to touch the same truth from different angles. The witch does not argue to touch truth. The witch argues to touch you, to steer you, to make you smaller, faster, ashamed, dependent, impressed, uncertain, eager to comply, eager to be forgiven, eager to be included. That's what riding means here. A person becomes the vehicle for a set of moves that don't originate in honest contact. They originate in control. And the spooky part is this. Often the rider doesn't feel like a rider. It feels like being right. It feels like helping. It feels like being reasonable. It feels like finally saying the hard truth. It feels like I'm the only adult in this room. Which is exactly why it spreads. How riding works? Riding is not possession in the supernatural sense. It's possession in the operational sense. A person's face remains their face, their voice remains their voice, but the inner driver changes. What changes first is not what they believe, but what they are trying to accomplish. A normal person, even in conflict, still wants a few basic goods. Understanding, repair, mutual recognition, a shared reality, a stable relationship. Which mode wants different goods? Dominance, compliance, moral superiority, public validation, epistemic custody, control of what counts as real. Those goods require tactics, not truth. So the witch climbs in and starts driving with tactics. The person becomes a delivery system, not necessarily because they are evil. Sometimes because they're hurt, sometimes because they're terrified, sometimes because their identity is strapped to being right. Sometimes because the social reward system around them pays cash for contempt. But regardless of origin, the signature is the same. The conversation stops being a meeting and becomes a capture attempt. It's riding. The two gears of the witch. The witch rides in two gears and you've already met them both. The first gear is soft power, warmth with an agenda, concern with steering wheel, humor that needles, friendliness that comes with a hook. This gear is about getting you to lower your defenses voluntarily. The second gear is hard power, shame, name calling, exile threats. Everyone thinks you're lucky I still talk to you. You're defective. This gear is about making the cost of independence feel too high. Most people think the witch is only the second gear, but the witch prefers the first, because the first produces consent. Consent is the cleanest cage. The prisoner installs the bars. That's why riding is the right word. A rider doesn't always whip the horse. Often the rider simply shifts weight and the horse turns. While the witch can wear anybody. The witch can wear anybody, because she doesn't need your biography. She needs your leverage points, and humans share leverage points. We fear being mocked, we fear being left, we fear being seen as stupid, we fear being cast out of the group. specific kind of person. She needs a person who, in that moment, is willing to use those fears as tools. They can be a progressive, they can be a conservative, they can be a church lady, they can be a guru, they can be a therapist, they can be a lover, they can be your own inner voice on a bad day. That last one matters, because the witch doesn't only ride other people. Sometimes a witch will ride you through your own mouth, and you call it discipline or truth, or I'm just being realistic. Writing is a technique before it is a character. What it feels like when someone is being written. You usually won't catch it by logic first. You'll catch it by your body. Conversation with a written person produces a very specific internal weather. You feel hurried or foggy or diminished, or like you're on trial, like you must explain your humanity to earn basic respect. You notice you are managing their emotions instead of discussing reality. You notice your no is treated as a symptom. You notice your questions are treated as insolence. You notice the goalposts move. You notice the topic isn't the topic anymore. And the biggest tell is this: they don't want to understand you, they want to correct you. Correction is not always evil. The correction that comes with contempt is not correction. It is conquest. That's writing.